Not playing out particularly well for His Majesty the King and of course his younger brother, the Duke of York, Prince Andrew. This literally is becoming a bit of a battleground, and as we all now know, it's all about whether Andrew should shift out of Royal Lodge and more importantly move down to Frogmore Cottage. But there's a bigger issue at hand. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. How are you? You all right? This is Park Lane, by the way. You wouldn't know it, would you? Look at all of the things that need to be dug up. Everything's 20 miles an hour and literally you're minutes away from the 5-star deluxe hotels. What a dump. These things need to be cleaned up. You know, this is one of our premier lanes here I get very passionate about things, as you can imagine. This is supposed to be the shop window in the middle of summer. Look at it. Absolute dump, isn't it? Do you agree? Yes, I know, don't get me going, you know what it's like. It's a little bit like, of course, His Majesty the King, who's clearly very angry with his younger brother right now, the Duke of York, Prince Andrew. You see, over at Royal Lodge, which is inside, of course, the Windsor Gate, a wonderful area, and they call it Lodge, but it's, you know, a mini palace, let's be brutally honest, and it's very big in itself. Clearly, it's something that Prince Andrew likes because, as we know, it was bestowed upon him by our late and wonderful monarch, Queen Elizabeth. Now, as you know, there's always been this sort of battle between, some people might suggest, His Majesty the King and his younger brother about favouritism. It's always been said that the Queen, well, her favourite son was Prince Andrew. I never really understood or believed that because I don't think she was that type of woman, but it's the sort of thing that comes out and sticks, isn't it, Now what's interesting is His Majesty the King wants Prince Andrew to move into Frogmore Cottage, a venue that's been spectacularly done up, all thanks to the departure of the former royals, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. He doesn't want to go, he says he's got a lease. Now you may have read about this because in the media basically His Majesty is now cutting the costs of the security. Now he was paying for that came out of his own personal profit. And basically he's saying, look, if you can't fund it yourself, I'm more than willing to give you this to live in, but you have to be a realist and decide if you're going to cut back. Apparently Andrew's dug his heels in and now there's another battle and it's all going off up in Balmoral, as you can imagine. Brothers, eh? But here's where it gets even more difficult, you see, because obviously over in Montecito, the ex-royals, as they're known, could really play into this very well. You see, the bottom line is that I've been told Harry and Meghan see this as a sort of way of introducing the fact that, well, just look at how difficult people have been to them. And now, of course, to his younger brother, you understand, with the royals. And this will play out quite badly if His Majesty is not very clever at nipping this in the bud. I would suggest that both he and Sarah Ferguson should simply move into Frogmore Cottage and be happy with somewhere to live. Clearly not on the royal rota, clearly not coming back anytime soon. But the bigger problem is, can His Majesty the King finally shift him and get him into Frogmore Cottage? The rumour is no, the battle goes on, but what happens when the Montecito duo get their media hands on this story? It could prove rather negative and literally explode in the ways that His Majesty simply wouldn't want to happen. Families, eh? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.